Like, listen, like, I don't like Stanley. I think the only person I had been was Stanley.
And Nate, Stanley doesn't state the obvious, like what the F. He's used talking points. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
The nature of American culture, it's a white people problem. Okay. I literally said they need to understand.
You really gotta let these people bother you like that. If they want to beef with you, it's called Stanley versus the world.
And just assume their character by stereotype?
I think people do that every day.
Okay, I didn't ask you. What do I think is okay?
My simplest desire is to have a life I enjoy. And if life isn't luscious and satiating, I am genuinely not interested in living it. I don't say that to be morbid or as some naive expectation that life is meant to always be happy and have nothing bad happen. I just want a full existence. A life that's expansive and explorative, intimate and tender. I want to feel the full weight of what it is to be a living being on a 1 in a million floating rock in the sky. So I say that as a declaration, with a deep knowing that this kind of juicy living is out there and mine if I'm brave enough to claim it. I've spoken before about my past struggles with depression, the dark places it took me to, and the overwhelming desire I once had to not be here. But even during that time, I knew that at least part of the cause was completely outside of me. It was the material conditions of the world weighing on me, conditions I didn't choose and that didn't make sense to me. It was whatever was at the root of the bottomless dread that washed over me every Sunday night, growing heavier and heavier as the hours passed and Monday inched closer and closer and closer, only to know I'd be repeating this cycle of dread for years to come. It was the monotonous misery of working to pay bills, for shelter and food and just to stay alive, with fleeting moments of happiness and peace sprinkled in that felt like a dangling carrot, just an illusion to keep life palatable enough to keep going. I think there are those of us who can vividly imagine a better alternative, and that makes it even harder to cope. We understand that if this current reality is possible, as complex and intricately designed as it is, with so much disregard and harm deliberately baked into it, that the same deliberate intention could create something better, something moral, that centers the natural abundance of the earth and our coexistence with it. Even back then, in my darkest days, something in me wanted to be here. I could still see beauty worth living for. It just felt distant. Plants and trees, sun and sky, all the water and food we need growing and flowing from the ground. Perhaps if I lived closer to those things, this life might make a little more sense. And so far, I've been right about that. As I've come to reclaim my life and my freedom, our ancestors and our histories have grown to be a larger, consistent presence in my daily existence. My life, in all its growing abundance, is their legacy and their doing. and it feels impossible to live my life, especially in the way I do now, and not think of them constantly. Here in South Carolina, my grandparents and every prior generation since the end of enslavement were sharecroppers. They never owned the land they lived and worked on, or the houses they called home. It sits incredibly close to my heart that I'm present here as a descendant who lives on and tends land that bears my name, in a home that I own and crafted by my own hands. My ancestors are so present in my mind, on my heart, and through my living at all times. They weren't able to live out their freedom in the way I do, but they still proclaimed themselves as worthy of it. They knew our lives had value, then and into the future. They knew we deserved freedom and joy, so they envisioned us, me and you, future generations, in a world they'd never know but trusted would be better and freer and more joyful than the world they'd known. And they created us to become part of it, and perhaps even shape it. I found this really pretty place to stop. It's this trail that connects to a trail that's higher up. It's so quiet and it's cool because it's shaded. Oh, I'm so hot. I'm not used to this weather, but I'm just gonna squat here. Yeah. On the morning I sat to write this script, I received a text from a good friend that read, "I'm so tired of seeing my people murdered on social media." I replied half jokingly that I had been busy dissociating and needed a trigger warning for those words. My friend told me they just needed to say it to someone who would understand. They knew I would, and I did. The truth is, whether I choose to dissociate or not, the terror against Black bodies on this soil continues. And that's the reason, too, that I'm abandoning the rules to reclaim this life of mine. We exist every day with a living knowledge of the harm that's happened here to our people and almost daily reminders that it's never stopped. So if I'm going to be alive under such conditions, I'm going to make it worthwhile. And that means claiming my life as something greater than a pawn for the system that only wants me in production, in prison, or in the dirt. And if the same people who want me dead are the same people who created the rules that cause my misery, there's no clearer indication for what I should be doing. I want to find out who I was before the world told me otherwise, before it stripped me of my identity and assigned me a role. I remember back in my mid-20s when I thought all the older adults were happy and fulfilled in their lives. And then around 27 or 28, I got a job at a large university surrounded by the very adults I had presumed were so happy and assured, and realized I had been so wrong. Seeing people twice my age still trying to figure out life was a jarring but necessary wake-up. Because most of these people had clearly done all the quote right things. They got the degrees, the jobs, the salary, the spouse and the kids, and a house to hold them all. But for many of them, it hadn't amounted to true happiness, or it had landed them in a position of always needing more. More money, bigger house, higher paying job. It just continued. I listened to people speak woefully about the passions they didn't have time for or couldn't muster up the courage to pursue. And still they believed that the path they had followed was the right one, and that I too should follow in the same footsteps that led to their unhappiness. Truthfully, I don't know that a lot of these people were even aware of how unhappy they seemed, but you can often tell not just by what a person says, but also by how they treat the people around them. And some of them seemed not even aware that feeling discontent with your life wasn't inevitable. We've been conditioned to accept general dissatisfaction as an acceptable baseline for the modern human experience. In a world where basic needs come with a price tag and fancy titles reign supreme, your job becomes your identity. Your life is labor. Working is your duty, and your life's purpose is wrapped up in what you produce and whatever value society assigns to it. And if you don't like it, oh well. Tough shit, that's life. I wanted to make a video, but I can't stop crying. It's just so pretty. And I'm so grateful to be here and to have the life that I have. Which is, I don't feel so, like minimal. But I get to see this. It's not because of the wine, although that's not helping. Even as I'm getting bit the fuck up by mosquitoes, and I am going inside, but I'm happy. And this is amazing. Like, what a planet. What an earth. My goodness. I would love to stay outside longer, but the mosquitoes are doing their thing. It's their time now. So I will have to watch from the windows. I went outside to go to my car, and I was preparing to go in for the night because mosquitoes and the sun is, basically setting. And I happened to glance over.
Well, welcome to Stanley versus the World, everyone. Happy Friday, such as it is. Still battling this cold, somewhat better. Speak Radio. I accidentally set it up. When I first set this up, I must have been half asleep when I did it, but I accidentally set it up in both portrait and horizontal mode. Horizontal being the one that I like better. And then I went and said, well, no, I don't want to set it up in both, just horizontal. Unfortunately, I selected portrait. And once you go live, you can't change it or flip it or add it. So I figured, you know what? Most people watch this, I believe, either 90% or right around 90% actually wind up watching this on their mobile phones. So, we'll test it out. Probably I won't do this again unless it's by accident. But it is what it is. It'll work. And this young lady, I've watched her before on this show. She just decided to leave the rat race. I think she was in her late 20s when she did it. So she has land in upstate New York, and she basically lives, she freelances and does stuff when she needs money. And then I think she's also done some things that'll, like a small business type thing. But yeah, she just said fuck it. So far she's surviving. And she does pretty well on YouTube.
It's a full moon tonight. Oh my God. I went into my job at that university hoping to find a mentor I could look up to, but found mostly examples of the type of person I didn't want to become or versions of a life I didn't want. But that turned out to be just as valuable because the facade of happiness and stability I had been fed and had been working towards was finally beginning to crack. And seeing so many discontent people made the truly happy ones stand out more. And I noticed they tended to be the freer ones, the people grounded and in touch with their interior worlds and their true desires, and moving in alignment with that. So even when their life choices aligned with societal expectations, it was still something they had consciously chosen for themselves, not a plan they'd merely gone along with. I wondered what had happened in those people's lives that let them remain so liberated in a world that seeks to suppress us. How much brainwashing did it take to make freedom look like rebellion instead of birthright and our natural state of being? The more time.
By the way, she's down from New York visiting upstate South Carolina. I used to live up that way. I swear, in the summertime, it is God's country. I love that Greenville, South Carolina area, up to like Tryon, North Carolina. Oh, it was just ridiculously gorgeous.
Time I spend in nature, the less I'm able to accept this version of the world we're in.
Now, she must be
Because
down
when I
south,
return to nature,
farther
I
south
return to
with that
myself.
Spanish moss.
We've been told otherwise, but humans are not separate from this earth. We are of it, and we would do ourselves and the entire planet well to return to this knowing. And even while the powers that be resist this, we can, one by one, little by little, turn our backs to their dastardly creation and turn instead towards each other. This is so nice. Life is just taking me to some of the most beautiful places, and I'm so grateful. I am so pleased right now. I think because it was so unexpected. I genuinely thought I was just going to drive to a forest and essentially just hang out in the parking lot because I hadn't intended to hike or anything because it is still pretty hot. So to find this, what? It's amazing. In the end, it will become clear that freedom is not the rebellion or the resistance. It is our truest and highest form of being. It's how we remain open to the expansiveness of life while never losing sight of the tiny moments that hold meaning. Freedom is a hearty yes to all that life can offer, alongside our many sure-footed no's that harden the boundaries of our path. Those in power should be reminded that they are the resistance to humans' true nature, and they're rebelling against the whole of humanity. Fortunately, rebellions can be quashed, and mutiny is never off the table. But for now, we jump ship. One by one, wade into the trusty waters who've always held us to find freedom on the shores. There will come a day when more of us will see the big, juicy life that's out there, and how freely and abundantly we're provided for on this land, and how freely and abundantly we can provide for each other without harm or obstruction to anyone. We'll know that the joy that comes from a sunrise in a slow morning is a necessary medicine, and anything that feeds the soul has value. We'll remember that our bodies aren't something to disregard, but to honor with awe and respect, and to thank them for their constant care of us by letting them return to the natural cycles of rest and repair, like everything else in nature, like the seasons, like the tide and the night. We'll recall that we too have power, and we have numbers on our side. And at any point, we can decide that what we see happening around us simply won't stand, and remove the poison by any means necessary. But for now, we jump, and we build our own worlds. And eventually, when we have the numbers, we'll return to the water. Not to board the boat, but to rock it. To make it known that these aren't safe waters for anyone who dares block the freedom of another. And if you feel otherwise, well, you're welcome to sink with the ship.
Well, that was that was restful. I guess I'm going to go ahead and follow Speak Radio suggestion, and then just shut this one down and start up one that's horizontal. And as a matter of fact, before I do that, let me make sure that the next one is set up right. Back when this feature first came out, I used to do both. And then I just figured, you know what? I don't really like this format. You can do both. You can do one or the other. And I just figured landscape is just easier because I think it works well on mobile also. So now the other interesting thing is they've come up with a special format for mobile, so you're not using landscape features in the portrait format. So you can actually set it up better, but I haven't gotten in and tinkered around. So that's that. So what I'm going to do is just end this, and then give me about 5 minutes, and I'll just restart it. I'm going to use the same thumbnail and everything. And then we'll just pick it up from the monologue. Because I do have a few things to say about the title of the show, at least. So see you in about 5 minutes.